There has never been a better time to be building custom cars than right now. More than just hanging parts, custom car building is high-tech work requiring skilled labor and careful attention to detail. Here at Hot Rod, we want to go behind the scenes, visiting shops to see what they're working on and what parts and skills are necessary to make it happen. This is John McGann from Hot Rod Magazine. Today I'm visiting Roger Lee at Ironworks Speed Kustom in Bakersfield, California. After working as a mechanic at several local shops, Roger decided to follow his dream of running his own business and founded Ironworks in 2001. After years of hard work, he has grown the business from a tiny 700 square foot shop and one part-time employee to owning this 10,000 square foot building and providing good paying jobs for 15 employees. No stranger to Hot Rod Magazine, Roger appeared on the cover of our October 2014 issue doing a burnout in a black 1970s Chevelle that was tethered to the ground with ropes that could tie up a container ship. The notoriety gained from that car and subsequent ones he's built has led him to begin production of what he calls the Legacy series of GM A-bodies. So this is basically a turnkey car that you sell to the customers.
Yeah, this is kind of a new venture for us.
Okay.
We're still building our custom cars, as you can see around the shop, but we're doing these Legacy series Chevelles. They're a production Chevelle that is kind of turned into, if you mechanically want the best Chevelle you could build, there's really not better parts unless you get into a pissing match over what engine you should be running or what this or that should be. And so we picked an LT4, which is a great power plant for reliability, drivability, mileage, everything. And then really the main options is just horsepower level, manual or automatic transmission, and pick your colors. And your wheels.
That kind of makes it. So this is kind of a customer-driven thing then, right? People look at that Chevelle, the one from the cover, or some of your other work and say, I want this, and I want it to be able to drive anywhere in the country. I want it to be comfortable, reliable.
Yeah, and that's the premise of the original Chevelle, was how many miles we've driven it, how much fun it is. That was never the nicest car, but it's just been the funnest car. And it sits good, it looks good. You can drive it thousands of miles comfortably. I mean, as you can see, I'm a tall guy, and there's more room in these cars than there is my 2500 GMC. In doing that, I'm trying to create just a process of just doing 5 a year. I don't want to become only the Chevelle guy, but I want to use this as a basis to train new guys. I want to use this as a basis to do something repetitive for the future and do something that we can kind of control more than everything just being intensive design and engineering. Just for a basic parts list, you've got a CNR radiator with Spall brushless fans. You've got ultimate headers. You've got a Wagner front drive system. We make these billet coil covers that go over the LT4 coils and valve covers to just give it a big block look. In some cars we do chrome valve covers like what's in the other car, and some of them we just do the orange. And then we make all the inner fenders to achieve the ride height and the tire width out of carbon fiber or fiberglass. You got your staple Ring Brothers hinges. We make this panel just to kind of gussy up the engine bay to label the car. And then as you get into the interior, we make the dash pad out of carbon fiber. So if you look right here, you can see that this, don't drop the screws, but you can see that it's all carbon fiber inside here. We just did that to make it strong. It's lightweight, as you'll see.
Oh yeah, there's nothing to it.
Yeah, nothing to it. We machine all these vents here that for the defrosters, so they don't just look like cheesy plastic parts. So we do a lot of that stuff. We make our own steering wheels for the cars.
Well, I think it's cool that you've got a car up on the lift that we can look underneath too, and it's also cool that this is an Oldsmobile. So
yeah, so the Olds looks like a Chevelle underneath.
Exactly.
It's just everything else is different on the outside.
Yeah, but it's neat that, you know, an A-body's an A-body, right?
A-body's an A-body. You have a few differences in the trunk that affect us, and inner fender wells are different. But everything else is pretty much the same. So this chassis's got the independent front suspension. We use our custom valve shocks that we've had done for the cars, front and rear. It's got the LT4. This car has the 10-speed transmission. We make all the exhaust and have it wrapped with the DEI. And then we tuck everything up super tight to the car. We've got a Mark Williams high-speed drive shaft that's balanced for 200 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
Not that we'll ever do that, but it just makes it smoother when you're doing, you know, you decide to do something you shouldn't be doing in Mexico.
Sure, sure, that happens sometimes.
So, happens in Mexico. The Willwood brakes, we had these a custom color done just to kind of go with some of the differences on the Oldsmobile. We also moved the fuel tanks up so that in most Chevelles they hang way down and that becomes this eyesore.
Yeah.
We wanted it so when somebody pulled up behind, they would see the exhaust come out this way and just see the wide tires in the IRS.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is people who know like Mustang Cobras and stuff would recognize this exhaust routing, and that is because this has an
it wouldn't be like this in a solid axle car.
Right.
And so we wanted people to be able to see that stuff, but I also just don't like seeing that fuel tank hanging way down. So in here's where we do most of our design work. George is over there doing 3D CAD design work. Jesse does a lot of our two-dimensional CAD design work, where he's making brackets and doing those things, and then walks out there and cuts it out on the plasma. So it'd be something that George designs a fixture that we plasma cut the structure to make a buck. We make a hood scoop. And so to get the shape of the hood scoop that we like, we're just going to do like a skeleton pattern, set it up on there if we like it, then we'll kind of move forward into it as to whatever the next process would be. Here we have a big rep printer that we print a lot of mock-up parts, bumpers, lower valences, things like that we can kind of see quickly how we like it, so you don't make something, spend all that time making it by hand to go, that just doesn't look as cool as we thought, and then you really have to start all over to do it again.
How long have you had this machine, and was it a big hit, or is it is it kind of paid for itself since then? It's
been really good. The problem with them is that technology progresses very fast. And I've had this thing for coming up on 5 years. I think I pay it off here in a few months. And it was very expensive, but we've printed a lot of interiors with it. We've printed a lot of stuff to mock up. Everything seems to be working fairly well. So like, don't touch the machine and something might change. But all that is, it's been a very big game changer, as you'll see on the Mercedes. So here we've got Delesh's 1976, I believe. I wasn't a big Mercedes guy when we started this thing, so I'm sure I'll get toasted in the comments somewhere. But we have his Mercedes. Delesh lives down in Orange County, and he wanted a little bit more horsepower. He wanted stance, and there's a lot of other stuff we've done now that I'm not really sure he thought was on the option menu, but he's really enjoyed it and really has liked the things that we've been working on as a team to maybe make the craziest Mercedes ever.
I want to back up for a second. Like, what was that phone call like for you initially? Like, this is if I remember on your Instagram, 450 SEL. I think.
Sounds right.
And
well, and it's interesting because, like, we don't answer the phone here because usually it's a guy who has his tax refund, wants me to work on the car tomorrow, and that's not our deal. We're not ready. Like, we need to buy all the parts. We could probably start on it in 6 months. Like, let's get a plan together. Let's get all that. And so we don't answer the phone here. We have a thing on our website that most people don't follow. And so I get an email from Delesh that is the most organized, to the point of every question I asked. Perfect email. And then you get to the bottom and you're like, oh, but it's a Mercedes. Which I didn't have a problem with, but I just remember the one from Beverly Hills Cop that has 15-inch wheels and sits like a monster truck. And I joke with Delesh that does he want us to shave the 2 flags off the front fender? Because this looks like a car that would...
The embassy car.
The embassy car. Like, so that's what I see when I see the car, is that maybe the Pope owns it or something, because it just, that's what it was. So my question is, what do I have to do to get a LT4 10-speed Corvette suspension-equipped car on the cover of Hot Rod?
You're putting me on the spot, but one of our perennial bestseller issues is the Dare to Be Different issue. And, you know, I could see this.
This leading the pack of Dare to Be Different?
Visualizing something here, Hot Rod up there, the Hot Rod logo, and then Dare to Be Different.
When Delesh wants dares to be different.
I like the car, and I'm also wondering if this is a trend that maybe we're seeing in the market, because I know there's some other shops kind of like you who are working on, I would say, foreign
exotics.
Cars. Yes,
different foreign, older exotics,
or German, European cars, but kind of building them as a sort of pro touring or.
Well, you're seeing 240Zs.
Yes.
You're seeing Jaguars. Yeah. Sometimes even better looking cars than the American stuff. You know, you take some of the Aston Martins and Jaguars, and those are some great looking cars.
Here at Hot Rod, we all know the iconic blue and yellow can with the little red top. This product's full name is the WD-40 multi-use product. It's the classic WD-40 product. As a personal note, I drove my truck to Bonneville a couple years ago, And you know how salty that place is and how corrosive that is to your frame. When I got home, I thoroughly cleaned the undercarriage of my truck and then doused it with a couple cans of WD-40, and it kept all the rust away. While many of us think we know the WD-40 brand, over the years they have continued to innovate. They have added not only unique spins on the classic product, but also entirely new products with specific uses to their lineup. In this episode, I want to reintroduce you to WD-40 multi-use product. Meet WD-40 Easy Reach. It's their same classic formula, but with a flexible straw that holds its shape. The benefit of this product is with the straw, you can get into really hard to reach places, up inside a frame, behind a door panel, inside door hinges or latches, any place where it'd be hard to reach, but you can access it with the flexible straw. Whatever your problem is, WD-40 brand has everything in their arsenal to help you get the job done right. To learn more about WD-40 Easy Reach and other versions of their classic WD-40 product, like this portable pen, visit WD-40.com. Now back to Behind the Build.
So John, this is kind of a different direction that we're going here. Is we're starting to build some of that same idea of the production stuff into some trucks. We're not trying to make them all the same, but we have 3 Ford trucks we're doing. 2 of them are the bump sides, and 1 of them is the dent side at this point, and then the 4th one is a Chevrolet.
Okay.
And so they would all be on Roadster Shop chassis, and we're trying to just make them where they would be simple, fun trucks. They look good, they sit good.
Well, it makes sense, and trucks are popular,
yes.
Speaking as a C10 owner, but I'm not an off-road guy, but this looks like, you know,
and I don't
pretty
think
capable.
this thing will ever see off-road.
That happens.
It's, you know, it's just got 37-inch tires. It looks good.
Yeah.
You're not worried about speed bumps. You're not worried, like,
sure.
And with the 4-wheel drive stuff is getting much more popular, of just a different direction to go. So here we've got Danny's 1967 Mustang. We finished it early last year, 2023. We took it to Columbus, won Street Machine of the Year with it. Contrary to popular beliefs,
yes,
you can confirm that the wheels are not yellow.
No, they're not the ketchup and mustard kind of yellow that you said.
Even though it seems the photograph different, which has been a fact of losing sleep in my life for a while, but the color is definitively gold and not Hulkamania yellow. So the interior parts were either machined or printed and then covered in leather. Wow. The center console was printed, the rear interior panels were printed. And so as you go through that, we have the side rockers were also 3D printed, and then the bottom piece was machined. And so all 3 of those bolt on the cars. All the scoops, all the vents, all that other stuff was designed and then machined or printed or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I like the color combo, even the gold wheels, but it's gorgeous. And how long did it take you guys to build this?
This is just a little over 2 to 2.5 years.
Is that typical for?
That's pretty typical for something this elaborate.
That's great. Well, I hope he does drive the car.
You do. He's driven it some, but it gets scary. You just get nervous.
I can imagine.
So,
a lot of work tied up in this. If you love 70 to 72 GM A-bodies, then visiting Ironworks Speed Kustom will make you think you're in heaven. More than just pretty faces, though, the cars are a dream to drive. Roger and I took legacy car number 1 to the powder coating shop, so I have first-hand experience. And how about that Mercedes? I'm hoping for a ride in that car when it's done. For more info, check out Ironworks Speed Kustom online and go behind the scenes on their Instagram channel. Did you like what you saw in this video? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned for more shop tours with Hot Rod Magazine. Where do you think we should go next?